Hi there, it's Siobhan here. It's the Galloping Housewife. I haven't done one of these for a while. My daily yard commute. So yeah, I'm on my way out to see the horses, and this first bit is 5 miles of, it's virtually a farm track. It's the old estate road into town, so it's quite a good chance to just sit and have a quick catch up. And yeah, I'm heading out. Yesterday I took Percy to go for a bit of a cross country school because we have our first one-day event this weekend. First one this season. It's been about 9 months actually since we last got out. I had a very short season last year because I was in New Zealand for the first half and then moved up to Scotland, and it took a while to get Percy sorted, or find a house and then get Percy sorted out and brought up here. So yeah, we only ended up having 2 starts. I did enter for 2 more, but and then I became unwell, so which is a bit shit. So I didn't get to go to the last 2 shows of the season last year. So yeah, it's been a while. So I missed the first one this season, just quite merrily going on my way and thinking, oh, I must enter that show. And yeah, people didn't tell me that in Scotland there's people get really excited and they enter really quickly. So by the time I actually figured it out and went to put my entries in, they were full. So that was the end of that. Yeah, so I'm off over to Flores Castle, which is quite away from where we are, on Sunday. It's about 3 hours, 3 hours in the trailer, which does mean a very early start. We'll try to leave the yard by about just after 5. Yeah, but that means sort of a 3:30 alarm by the time, because I live half an hour from my yard, which is this commute that I do. So by the time you get up and get yourself organised to get out the door and get over there and plate the horse and then get him on the trailer, that makes for a very early morning. So yesterday I took him out, so I hadn't jumped anything solid for a long time, and yeah, about 9 months. So I took him out to up the road to, it used to be at Horse Trails actually, it's Greenfields of Avondale, and he was just a fucking superstar. Absolutely, he's jumping really well at the moment, and yeah, he's just galloping on down to fences. He's not as fit as I'd like him to be, so yeah, he might be a very tired Percy next week, so because I'm going to give him a little bit of a rev up, partly because I would really, long convoluted thing, but I'd like to qualify for badminton grassroots next year, which means I need to move up to the 90s, but I also would like to qualify for the 80 centimetre championships, so that I've got that to fall back on if I don't manage to qualify for badminton. And the 80 centimetre championships means that you have to actually won, which I'm a bit fucked off about. But then you go through to areas. Actually, you don't have to have won, you just have to have gotten in the top percentage. But this year they didn't have area festivals for the 80 centimetres, so they just took the winners of all classes. And of course, what did we do? We only went to 2 BE events. We came home with ribbons in both of them, but we had a second and a fourth, so not quite the win that we needed to get to champs, although he's almost definitely the calibre of horse that needs to be there. So yeah, so that's what that's about. So yeah, I'd really like to try and get the win as early as possible in the 80 centimetre, or at least qualify for the get a qualifying score for next year's area festivals, so that I can I can go to the 80 centimetre champs if I don't get into the 90s. Right, that's done. So I'm going out actually to the yard today to ride Mitch, and it's just fucking started raining, and I'm just like, oh. I messaged the yard owner and said, look, what's the weather like? Because it had just come in really nasty up at home, and she was like, oh no, it's okay. And then she's like, oh, maybe not if it's really that bad up there, because it might come in earlier than it's anticipated. It's supposed to come in this afternoon anyway. That's the shit about living half an hour from the yard. And I'm like, actually where I went out to do the cross country, they also have livery there, and I did look at it and I was really close. It's a bit further away, but they have an indoor arena, and so I was, and so just that indoor arena just gives you that little bit more flexibility to be able to, you always know that you can ride when you get out to the horse. So, and I've said that I need to be somewhere with an indoor arena before next winter. So, and plus it's got the cross country. You can go out and play on the cross country whenever we like. So, thinking. Anyway, I am heading out to ride Mitchell at least, and no, not Percy, just Mitchell, a bit later than normal. I've got shitloads done today, but one of the things I wanted to talk about was one of the posts that I made was about my Skinny Bitch Code course, so that I put out, which I know is really good. It's really useful, really good for all middle-aged women, but especially middle-aged women like us that ride horses, that live in the countryside, that have that real sort of practical edge and can't be asked with all the shit. But we also like to present ourselves well. We like to look good. We like to, and that is it. Because I put up a couple of posts earlier on this week, and it was really sort of benign stuff about being in shape for what you need to do. So when you're aiming for a fitness or a health goal, it's less about, everyone goes on, this will get you into the shape of your life. Well, if you follow the Skinny Bitch Code, if you want to get in the shape of your life, then you will get in the shape of your life. But I am more concerned about people being able to feel that they can do whatever they want to do. So I'm more concerned about people feeling that they don't have to worry about their fitness if they want to play a game of tennis or a round of golf or go hiking at the weekend or get round your fucking cross-country course. Or, let me tell you, that it takes a whole lot of puff to get up that centre line at the end of a Grand Prix test. But, so I don't give a shit what your particular thing that you want to do is. If you want to, that is what you should be aiming for. That is your level of health and level of wellness that you should be aiming for, to make that easy, so that your health and fitness is not the thing that you're thinking about when you're out there doing whatever else it is that you want to be doing. But that also includes that when you have to get up and make a presentation at work, do you get up and think, I'm a fat fuck, I look like a slob? Or do you get up and think, I am fabulous? And it's like, that might be about losing some weight. It might just be about getting more comfortable with your body and realizing that you're really strong, and that you are, that you can be the shape that you are, and that dressing for that shape and eating for that shape. And that is absolutely, and that happens in the Skinny Bitch Code too, because it's all about getting your body to a stasis point, to a maintenance point that works for you. And then not having to think about it ever again. Like, it just becomes second nature, maintaining where you are. And so, yeah, because then you can worry about all sorts of shit that you need to worry about. So, but if you want to look good, that is fine. And people keep going on about, and it's the thing, because you've got this whole society telling you need to be a certain size and shape. And that is just absolutely insane. You can be any size and shape that you want to be, that makes you feel good. That is absolutely your prerogative, and and it's all about strength and power in that. Like, you have the right to be whatever makes you feel good. But if what makes you feel good is slim and lean and fit looking, all of a sudden it's bad to talk about that. It's bad to say, I actually want to drop a few kilos. And and people say, oh no, you don't need to, or oh, you shouldn't be thinking like that, or you shouldn't be saying that people can do this because there's eating disorders and all this type of stuff. It's like, fuck off. Who are you to tell me or anyone else what shape we should be? And it's like, it really gets up my nose, because and people say to me all the time, and I'm no different to everyone on this fucking planet in that I put on, I actually put on probably almost 10 kilos during COVID lockdowns and all that type of stuff. And there's so many reasons for it, and it's not just that I sat on my ass and drank wine and did nothing, ate cheese. I mean, I sit on my ass and drink wine and eat cheese anyway. So the COVID was no different. The thing that, and if you did Skinny Bitch Code, you know that probably the main thing that caused the weight gain for just about all of us was stress, and the way that it affects your body and the way that it affects you, how you metabolize food, and also how you use, how that interferes with your fat burning and all that type of stuff, and and you learn how to switch that on and switch that off. So like I said, I am ordinary. I am no different to anybody else, and I put on, it's not an insubstantial amount of weight. When we're talking about, when they talk about a medically significant amount of weight when we are assessing people for disease processes and that sort of stuff, 6% of your body weight is considered significant. Okay, so I put on nearly 20% of my body weight, and I mean, I am fucking good at putting on weight. It's something that I am extremely talented at. When I was pregnant with with both of my children, people say, the accepted norm is that you put on something between 12 and 14 kilos of weight over that time. I put on 18 with the first and 20 with the second. And I was fine. I was well healthy. There was no diabetes there. There was, absolutely everything was perfect. I looked good. I was happy with that. That's the amount of weight that I put on. I just ate well, looked after myself, didn't give a shit about the fact that I was putting on more weight than actually, the textbooks perhaps assume that I should, and it was all fine. So I'm just saying, I'm quite talented at putting on weight, and so it's like, and so when I got to the point of the other side of a whole lot of stuff that happened, so it was COVID, and we went home for 4 months, which was it's home back to New Zealand for 4 months, which was absolutely wonderful, but it was like a 4-month party, it was like a 4-month holiday. We were working while we were there, but we had a bit of stress going on as well, but we also had people were feeding us and we were drinking a lot, and it was absolutely brilliant. But I came back, we came back a little bit out of shape for us, and chunky for us. And so, and I said recently, I would quite like to, to get back to that, my pre-COVID, well, not pre-COVID weight yet probably, because actually, and the other really fucking important thing is that at my pre-COVID weight, I can zip up my competition boots, my dressage ones, my jumping ones, the ones that I use for eventing and things, are a little more forgiving, because by nature of the fact that they're a softer sort of finish. They're not stiffened like we stiffen the dressage boots, and so I can get them up. I would like them a little bit more comfortable, but I can get them up and use them. There's no problem. But my dressage ones, because they are stiffened, they're a little snug. I mean, I could possibly get them on. I haven't actually tried for a little while, but I could possibly get them up, but I'd not be able to walk or function, use my legs at all. I would lose feeling in my feet. really rather rapidly. So yeah, so I want to get back into those boots, because although I've got no plans in the immediate future of showing Mitch, that's there, you know, it's something that I've got in my little, like, things that are going to happen. And I can't afford a new pair of made to measure, you know, patient, stiffened, absolutely drop dead gorgeous boots. I just can't do it. So I'd like to lose a couple of kilos to get back down to, and it's only a couple of kilos now. It's kind of because I know what to do. It's fine. But I get people judging me, going, "Oh, you know, you look fine," or "Oh, you're really skinny already. Why would you want to lose weight?" And it's like, you know, no, you don't get to choose. You don't get to choose where I feel comfortable in my own skin. You know, I am someone who is an athlete or has been an athlete. I am someone who is used to using my body in a certain way, is used to looking a certain way, is used to presenting myself in a certain way. You don't get to tell me that that's no longer okay. That's not your job. That is not your job. Equally, if I decided that, if I could afford a new pair of boots, if I decided that I was happy to be a little bit softer and rounder, that I didn't want to be quite as physically fit and as strong as I have been, then you don't get to tell me that either. You do not get to say, "Oh, you know, you looked better before." It's like, that is not your choice. That is not your choice. So that's what I'm here to kind of like say. I mean, if your thing is that you want to get in shape, want to lose a few kilos, then go for it. You know, don't justify it to anybody. That is your goal, and that is yours to have. And it's possible. Not only is it possible, it's possible to do this effortlessly, you know, without putting a lot of thought into it. You don't have to exercise. In fact, you shouldn't exercise excessively, and you certainly don't have to fucking starve yourself. I mean, like, I am that. I mean, people that have worked with me, actually people that have worked with me medically, I was known for having stashes of food around the place. I had, you know, little things of nuts here and little things of pretzels here and little things of, as long as I had food, people knew they were safe. So that's, and I mean, like, and also you've got to remember, I'm a nurse and I was working in the emergency department, which is a very high visibility sort of place. It's not like a ward where you go into, you know, you might have a staff office or a ward office where you write your notes, or even a drug, you know, we did have a drug room at in the ED, but it was like completely visible, had locked doors, but it was completely visible from everywhere. And it's you know, it's not somewhere that you can sneak away and have a quick bite. It's somewhere that you are on display, and we were absolutely expressly forbidden from having eating in public, and so the lengths that I would go to actually just fucking ignore them, and eat whenever I felt like it, were quite extraordinary. But yeah, it's I mean, two things I always had to have access to was food and water. I always had my water bottle went everywhere with me as well. It's not, I just don't travel without it. So that's, I mean, I am an eater. I don't believe in starving yourself. It's wrong, and it does so many bad things to you. It screws up your metabolism. It makes losing weight harder, and it doesn't just screw up your metabolism and make losing weight harder for now. It does it for the next 6 years. So, well, it can do if you do it for a prolonged period of time. And so, so the things that I've learned are about how to keep your hormones in balance with food, how to, what impact food has on your body so that you can utilize it the best, like when you should be eating your carbs, and what sort of carbs for what you're wanting to do, and when you should be eating your fats, and how much protein you should be having, and all those sorts of things. And it sounds like a lot. It sounds like it sounds like a fucking scientist, statistician's version of calorie counting, and I can assure you it's not. It's really, really bloody simple. There is not a calculator in sight. It's nothing like that. It's just generally knowing how things work, and knowing, and it's just easy. Like once you've got that knowledge in you, you can make a decision on the fly. You can find whatever it is that you need to be able to do what you want. And the other thing is that it must taste good. For God's sake, I am, I'm a proper foodie, and I'm married to a foodie. My husband has worked in champagne and wine for most of our married lives. When he was working for the champagne house Laurent Perrier, we were living the champagne lifestyle. We were doing everything, going everywhere, as representatives of Laurent Perrier, and I called it the champagne tour of London. It wasn't just London; it was the UK, and we've been through Ross and Tour-Simon and France, and it's we eat good food, and we cook good food at home. We're like, there was something that came up on Twitter today, and they were taking the piss out of an MP about things you find in the back of the cupboards, and they were talking about truffle oil and saffron. I was like, yeah, okay, because I've got both at night. So it's sorry, I've got someone with flashing lights, but I'm not sure whether he's a lights and sirens or whether he's just a lights and bloody highway patrolman. So he's not screaming up my ass, so we'll just go with it. He's just a lights and highway patrolman. So we eat well, and like I said, champagne and wine, so we're fans of that. I'm a fan of whiskey. I live in Scotland. It's not. I don't live in Scotland. It's not because I live in Scotland that I like whiskey, but I live in Scotland because I like whiskey. It's quite handy being up here. It's kind of So it's about not denying yourself, and fitting in with our lives, about being able to go to the party, about being able to go on holiday, about about celebrating with champagne and cake if that's your thing, and it's like I said, it's possible. Someone said yesterday on one of my posts, it'd be nice if this was possible, and I'm like, it fucking is. It so is. And not only is it possible, it's easy. It is so easy. And that's why I called it the skinny bitch code, because people look at people that are out there that are skinny and that are fit and that maintain and that do all this shit, and they go, oh, it's such a skinny bitch, and I would love to be like them. And it's like, so you can be. It's the same. Our hormones work the same, and they've won the genetic lottery, and that they were born into a body where their hormones, and they lived in an environment where their hormones were set a certain way and were maintained a certain way. But that doesn't mean that you can't reset your body and reset your maintenance just like them. And if you do the skinny bitch code, you will find out that there is a certain amount of shit that you can blame on your that you can blame on your genes, that you can blame, I would say blame on your parents, because they came from your parents, but there is a certain amount of shit that you can blame on your genes, but that doesn't mean that it's irreversible. And yeah, we can fix this shit, and not only can we fix this shit, we should fix this shit, because what this shit is stuff that will pass on down to our children, and to our children's children, and to our children's children's children. It will take a couple of generations for this stuff to be rejigged and to be reset completely, but it can be done. It can be done. So yeah, anyway, these things are normally just the length of my road, and I've been a bit naughty because I've carried it on in the edge of my driveway. I've carried it on almost out to the yard now, and this is not usual for me, but it's a subject that I feel really strongly about. I think women should have agency over how well they are, their bodies, and not just their health, but how they look and how they choose to present themselves. That is their choice, their business, their agency. Right. Honestly, if you'd like to know more about it, check out the Skinny Bitch Code. It is a course I'm really fucking proud of. It's good. It's well done. It's well researched. Incredibly well researched. It makes sense. Yeah, it's good. Right. I will maybe see you later. Bye now.